All right, I think we're ready for our next presentation. Again, welcome back to the second day of the 18th Annual Maastricht Institute. And again, I see Matt's here. Thank you again to Wood Houston Bank for all they do to put this event together, really to help us to do that as well. And as I mentioned, please get the surveys out. After our presentations today, we will have lunch, and that gives you a good opportunity also to visit with our presenters. And we still have several that are here from yesterday as well. Fantastic. So a lot of good information will come up at lunch today. So let's get started with our next presentation. I'm going to ask Charlie Dukes to come up. Charlie's instructor of business, and he will introduce our next speaker. Charlie?
Good morning. Our next speaker is the founder and CEO of Dance Productions, Ward Enterprises, Allstar Fieldhouse, Dancer's Kloset, and Spotlight by DK Dance Productions. Raised in Jerseyville, Illinois, she's a dedicated entrepreneur, community builder, and mother who has transformed her passion for youth development into a successful network of businesses across dance, cheer, and athletics. Her DK brand family includes multi-location dance studios, an elite all-star cheer program, competitive dance teams, youth training academies, a baseball and softball training facility, and a dance retail store, serving hundreds of families across the Metro East and St. Louis region. Darci has built her organizations on a foundation of discipline, teamwork, and creativity, whilst prioritizing strong staff development and meaningful connections with families. Darci holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Marketing with a dance minor from Missouri Valley College and an MBA from Lindenwood University. She began her career as a logistics consultant with Anheuser-Busch, where she supported wholesalers across 6 states, strengthening her expertise in operations, strategy, and leadership. She's a breast cancer survivor. Darci brings resilience and purpose to everything she does. She's also a mentor, author, and proud mother to her son, Zach. Through her work, she is committed to inspiring others and improving young people to succeed not only in athletics, but also in life. So please welcome Darci Ward.
Thank you. It is quite an honor to be here today with all of the speakers, with the faculty and staff, with you students. I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants being up here. We've had great speakers yesterday and today so far, doing amazing things in the communities that they work and live in, and I hope to share a real story of what my journey has been. I think that it hasn't always been easy, and I think everyone who has already spoken and will speak will give that same journey to you, as it is quite the roller coaster when you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, a parent, an athlete. There are so many things that happen along your way to get to where you're going that it just is such an integral part of the journey that you know the real, true things that do happen. Like Charlie said, my name is Darci Ward. I am from Jerseyville, Illinois. I am a Missouri Valley College graduate of 2001. And this kind of is a little bit about where I'm at, who I am. When I was here at Missouri Valley College, I was an Alpha Xi Delta. I came here as a cheerleader. I grew up as a dancer and a cheerleader, and I loved every moment of my Missouri Valley College experience. I have some of the very best friends from day one. I still talk to most of them on a daily basis, and this is really a great opportunity for all of you to learn and grow in these formative years of your life. After I graduated, I moved back home to Jerseyville for a couple of years. I started working in St. Louis, then moved to St. Charles right outside of St. Louis, and started the LCIE program at Lindenwood University and got my MBA. While I was doing that, I was working full-time, and there's a lot of challenges in that. Currently, I am self-employed. I am a business owner. I own 3 dance studios. I own a retail dance store. I have a makeup line. I own a baseball training facility. First of all, do we have anyone in the cheer program here? Do we have any cheerleaders in the room? Any dancers in the room? Any baseball players in the room? We've got one baseball player. All right. Very cool. So the baseball training facility, obviously I'm not a baseball player. My son is. He's 13. His name is Zach, and he's super awesome. And I love to watch him play. I am a huge St. Louis Cardinals fan, and I love baseball. Yay, go Cardinals. The property that I purchased it's 3 acres, and it had a large pole barn in the back of the property. Well, I'm not a farmer, if you can't tell. I don't have tractors or anything to put in the barn, but I have a baseball player who needs somewhere to practice. So I turfed the facility and put some cages in, and now my son has a training facility in our backyard, and I rent it out because it was very expensive and a little more expensive than what I thought. So we rent it to local teams so they can have practice, because Midwestern weather is very unpredictable. So that's how the baseball training facility came to be. I have an all-star cheerleading gym that I started the cheer program about 4 years ago in one of the dance studios. The program grew exponentially within a couple of seasons, and I had to move that whole program into a new facility that is solely for cheerleading. And this preschool dance curriculum, that's kind of my project that has been on the shelf for a little bit, but what it is going to be, and I have that logo, all of the logos to come up soon in one of the next slides, is we will sell a dance curriculum to preschools that is going to be the platform. It will all be online, so their teachers will learn and be able to teach those dance classes, those dance lessons, that full curriculum within their own facilities. So it'll be subscription-based. 20 years in business. This is my 20th season as a business owner, which sometimes it seems like yesterday, sometimes it seems like it's been 100 years, because being a business owner, it's not for the weak. And last but certainly not least, I am a mom. That's my number one job. As I said, my son, he's 13. His name is Zach. He's in the 7th grade, and he is a 13-year-old boy that has an attitude and all of those things, but he loves his mom. I am a mentor. I do mentor a lot of our students, a lot of our high school students within our dance and cheer programs. I also mentor for a CEO program at our local high school for young entrepreneurs that are looking to go into business or looking to start their own businesses. And that I've done for the last 4 or 5 years, and it has been super awesome. And I am a breast cancer survivor, which I'll get to a little bit later. And with this kind of path of all of the things, I'll let you know kind of how everything started. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My grandparents on my mother's side were farmers. On my father's side, my grandpa was a contractor and had his own business. My father owned a sporting goods store, and my mom had a shoe store directly across the street in our small town. So I saw the challenges that they faced many, many times. And personally, I thought, I will never, ever do this. I do not want to be an entrepreneur. I do not want to deal with the problems that they have had, that I have seen, the unpredictability. So I went into the corporate world, and I thought, that is my place. I want to work somewhere big. I want to wear suits every day and high heels and sit in business meetings. Like, that was my idea of a good time, apparently. So while I was getting my master's, I was employed at Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis. I worked as a logistics consultant for their wholesalers in 6 states. I would go in and restructure their sales and delivery routes to save on fuel and time. I saved them millions and millions of dollars annually because they were willy-nilly running all over town, wasting time. Typically, these were men who don't ask for directions and want to do things their own way. And so we really our department streamlined how they did their jobs. Did they like it when I came into their warehouses and told them what to do? No, they did not. The corporate life was good for a while, but I found out it was not particularly for me. I missed dance. I started dancing when I was 3 years old. My mom enrolled me in dance classes. I danced at the same dance studio in my small town for 15 years until I graduated from high school. I came here. I taught dance at a local studio while I was here at Missouri Valley. I was a dance minor. And then my junior year, I started the dance team and coached and danced on the dance team. I missed it. Once I graduated, I missed it. I actually answered an ad in a newspaper, an actual paper newspaper, for a dance teacher while I was working at Anheuser-Busch, just as kind of a part-time gig because I love to dance. And it is, once it's in you, it's in you. I started teaching at a local studio and became friends with the owner. And she said, we were walking to our cars one night. She said, would you ever be interested in owning a dance studio? I was like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Sounds like something later that I want to do. I've got this corporate career and I'm traveling a lot and not really sure if that's going to work for me. She's like, I have this other location, I'd like to sell it to you. I'm like, okay. At the time, I was married, and my husband was a professional musician, and I was so excited to go home and tell him that the owner had offered to sell me the studio, and I could get to do what I love to do. So I did. I went home. I was like, oh my gosh, she wants to sell me the studio. And he said the most devastating thing to me that he could have said. We're not spending any money on that. Heartbroken. Now, don't get me wrong. This was not the first red flag that I should have seen in this relationship. But I like to call this my little speed bump. Because at that very moment, and this is me being very real and very vulnerable to all of you because this is part of it. I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm going to start giving you some money and you're going to keep your mouth shut. And I said, I'm going to buy this dance studio and I don't know if this is going to work out with him. I don't know. So that's what I did. Started slipping my mom a little cash here and there. Just keep your mouth shut, Mom. And at a certain point, I knew that it wasn't going to work. And we did end up getting divorced. But here is the little shiny spot of this. I had this beautiful engagement and wedding ring. And it's funny to me now. It was funny to me then, actually. But I said, do you want this back? This is, this probably means more to you now, whatever. No, that was a gift to you. I said, okay. So I called our jeweler. I said, hey, Tony, I know you always loved this ring. I'd like to sell it back to you. We're getting divorced. And I used the money for the ring to buy the studio. So whether he wanted the studio or not, he actually paid for it. So I'm not mad. With that being said, the last 20 years have been a roller coaster ride of dance, of struggle, of conflict, of good times, of bad times, of tears, of laughter, all of those things. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't trade it for a business suit. I wouldn't trade it for corporate meetings. I have had some of the greatest times. I've had some of the hardest times, but what it has done is built me. And I think that's one of the most important things that I can give to you as students, for you to understand that every closed door doesn't mean anything, because another one's going to open. This is kind of our family of brands. The first one at the top, that is our main logo. That is the dance studios. And I have 3 of those in 3 different communities. The Diamond Cheer House, that is our latest building and venture of the Allstar Cheer Gym. Jump, Jive, and Boogie is our preschool dance program. The Dancer's Closet is our retail location, and it is really housed. We have one main location, but it is housed in all of the dance locations. Spotlight by DK Dance Productions, that is our makeup line that we sell in all of our retail. And then the Allstar Fieldhouse, that is the baseball training facility. I know that one kind of doesn't really go, but it's okay, I don't care. I didn't think pink was gonna do it for the baseball, so. How I kind of moved through the space, I opened the first studio in 2006, and I was still working for Anheuser-Busch. So what a day looked like for me, usually Monday through Thursday, I would go to work at 7:30 in the morning, work all day in my corporate life till 4:30. Then I would go drive 45 minutes to the dance studio. Sometimes I'd change in the car while I'm driving, and then teach dance classes until 9:30 every night. I did that for 2 years, and I worked all Saturday mornings too. I did that for 2 years. That hustle and that time commitment is nothing like I ever expected. But what it did was it built what I wanted in my own business while I was still taking those corporate lessons and learning all of the HR things, all of the payroll things, all of working with people in the meetings, all of those things that helped me really form what I wanted and build that infrastructure for my own business. Typically, dance studios, it starts as a hobby, right? Like, I like to dance, like, I like to teach classes, like, let's just do that. And so many dance studios run and operate that way. There's no business acumen, there's no infrastructure, there's none of those things. It's usually a one-woman show or one-man show, and they have no employees. You answer all the calls, you return all the emails, you teach all the classes, you deal with all the parents, you deal with all of that. I did not want to do that. I did not want to be all of the things. But at first, you have to start small. So I did. As our team grew, as we developed, we moved locations. We finally moved into a larger building. And in 2015, I moved into the current main location that we're in St. Louis. It's about 10,000 square feet. We have 4 studio rooms operating at any given time. There's a student lounge, there's a retail store, nice front desk. I have an office that I don't use. So it was a really big moment for me. We started in 900 square feet. 900 square feet, that's it. It was tiny. It was like dancing in a hallway. And now we have this big location. So we were really proud to make that move. In 2017, I opened a second location in about 20 minutes from the main location. In 2020, like a crazy person, I opened another location about 20 minutes past the other. I was at the right place at the right time, and a studio, and it was actually the studio that I grew up in my hometown. They had not pivoted during COVID. They shut their doors. They said, we're just gonna wait this out. We've already taken your money. You've you've paid for your costumes for the end of the year's big show, but we're not going to do anything. So with that, I'm like, I can do something. I can do something here. I've got to make my move. It wasn't personal, it was business. And I opened in my hometown, and my goal was to have 60 students that first season. When we opened our registration, we had 150. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I have to hire more teachers, we have to add more classes, we had to do all of those things. So because someone else wasn't pivoting, it really benefited our business. Now, COVID happened, and that was hard, obviously, for a lot of businesses. And I'll mention that a little bit later. But during that time, we ran all 3 locations via Zoom, and that was very difficult. The students, especially our little babies, don't want to look at a camera. They don't want to be on film. They want to eat cookies. If they're in their living room, they don't want to do dance class. So our enrollment did drop. We lost about 50% of our students, which was difficult, obviously, revenue-wise. With that, we started adding new programs. Like I said, we added a cheer program. We have competitive teams at 2 of the locations. We have, during that time, we had a ninja program. We had, boys hip hop. We did all kinds of different things just to draw in more people, different clientele, people that hadn't danced. We were really trying to create that social environment and have that sense of community, even though everyone was at home. We continued doing those programs when we all went back into the buildings. Kids were excited. Our enrollment started to creep back up. All of those good things happened. One of the things that I definitely feel like helped me, somebody's trying to call me, what in the world? One of the things that helped me is, even though I wasn't ready, I said yes to a lot of things. Now at this point, I say no to a lot of things because I'm at that stage of my life, but being ready is subjective, right? My mom always used to say, well, if you wait till you're ready to have kids, you're never really ready for that responsibility. And I think that is one of the main things that has helped me build the business, is just to be the risk taker and to go for it. Passion for me, I love to dance. I grew up dancing. It makes me happy. I love music. I love all kinds of music. That is not enough to run a business. And like I mentioned earlier, a lot of dance studios are built on that. I just like to do it. And that is not enough because of all of the other things that are encompassed in a business. You have to have the systems. Those absolutely 100% matter. Do we have anyone in here that's like, yes, I'm gonna open a business myself one day? Yes, okay, a few hands. It is so important that you have systems built and you have that infrastructure laid out, that foundation. Take your time to build them. Systems do break. I always feel like when we get to about 250 students, in an enrollment period, everything breaks. We get to 500, everything breaks. You gotta hire more people, you have to do all of the things. So you have to really be in tune with those initial foundational systems that you have, or that you're building for your business. Leadership matters. Show of hands, student athletes. Everybody? That's how it used to be. You know on a team who your leaders are, right? Yeah, you can identify those people. They step up, they do the right thing, they're to practice early. That is what you have to be when you are the owner of a business. You have to be the one putting in the work. Everybody takes out the trash. That's what I say at work. Just because I'm the owner doesn't mean that I'm any better than anybody else. I take the trash out too. That does not go very far with me. If you're too good to take out the trash, you don't work here anymore. And accountability. You have to hold yourself accountable, and you have to hold your employees accountable. That is a major one. I think we live in a world of instant gratification, and you don't hold yourself accountable. You want to hold other people accountable, but you sometimes don't hold yourself accountable. As an owner, as a leader, that is super important. So, being an entrepreneur, this is kind of, these are the things that I thought, because I was in such a structured corporate life. I'm like, man, when I have my own business and I can do this and solely do this, I'm gonna have the freedom and the flexibility and my passion for dance. I could just dance all the time. Yeah, that didn't happen. All these friendships, like all of the parents and the kids, and it's gonna be great, and my teachers. I'm just gonna live this fun life. Well, let me tell you something. Long hours. Like I said, I worked full-time corporate job, I traveled, I did all the things, and then I'd go teach dance. And like I said, I did that for 2 years until I had built the business large enough where I could solely rely on that. But the long hours, they don't stop. There are competition weekends that we spend from Friday afternoon essentially until Sunday evening at a dance competition. There's long hours all week long. There's things that happen that you have to deal with. You are essentially the janitor. You are the AV person. Like a speaker breaks, I have to figure out why the speaker's broken. You have to be the cleaner. You have to be the scheduler. You have to be the therapist. You have to be all of the things as the owner. You have to make those hard decisions. You have to decide, am I going to put forth this money to go into this new building? We're going to invest in a new program. Am I going to hire more people? You have to make those hard decisions. Am I going to fire people? That all is on your shoulders. You have the financial risk of it all. All of that, as the owner, are things that we don't think about, or I didn't think about personally, when I was starting the business. You are essentially responsible for every person there. People rely on me to feed their families. That is on my shoulders. And you have all the conflict, right? When I'm dealing with two of parents' most important things. Can anybody name those two things? Children. Nope. Money. I am dealing with their two most precious things, their babies and their hard-earned dollar. So, I get a lot of conflict. And primarily, I deal with women. My teachers are women. My students are women, little girls. There's a lot of conflict there. Whether you want it or not, I'm the one I get the emails, I get the calls. And just a thought, entrepreneurship is often romanticized before it's understood. And that, as young people, I want you to really think about what goes into it. Some of the mistakes that I made along the way, I have waited way too long to hold people accountable. I am not one for firing people. If I have to do it, I will do it. Do I wait too long? Probably. When should you fire somebody? Anyone?
After repeated talks and trying to correct the issue.
She said after repeated talks and trying to correct the issue. The first time you should fire or when you should fire someone is the first time you think I should fire her or him. You should just get it over with. That is advice that I didn't take for many years, and now I 100% do that. Taking on too much myself. Who doesn't do that? As athletes, you guys know how important time management is. You have your studies, you have your practices, you have any other activities that you do. You want to have a social life, right? You want to do all of those things. You constantly pile things on yourself. True? Yeah. You have to find that balance between what you can do, what you want to do, what you need to do. You have to find that balance. And you have to have those hard conversations, because avoiding them doesn't make them get any easier. So what works? And this could be with any job. This could be with any team, as a coach, any type of anything in your life, any relationship. You have to have clear expectations. You have to have a strong culture. Your communication systems have to be very clear. And definitely, you have to be accountable. You have to be accountable to yourself. You have to be accountable to your employees if you expect them to be accountable to you. So, my dad used to say, if you want to be liked, be an ice cream salesman. I will tell you, being a dance teacher, a dance studio owner, a coach, any of those things, there are many times that you are not liked. When it comes to parents, when it comes to kids, when you do hold them accountable, when you do have to resolve those conflicts. You have to be clear. You have to have standards. You have to have consistency. If you're not consistent with the things that you expect from people in your relationships, in your working relationships, it will not work. You will not finish with the people that you start with. So 20 years of having the dance studio, and I thought, there's a couple of people that we're gonna make this run together. It didn't happen. And that's okay, because as you grow, as you evolve, as your business evolves, there are people that don't want to run as fast as you. And you need those people. You need those teammates. And sometimes your decisions, they don't always feel super great. You have to sit with them. You have to know, even though you like this person and they're not doing a super great job, probably got to let them go. As you know, with teams, culture is everything. It reflects your standards, your tolerance, your energy, and what you allow will continue. Who has had a coach that kind of just lets everything go? And you're like, wow, I'm really working hard, and this guy's not, but he's not getting, he's getting the same playing time. He's like, what's up with that, right? What does that do for you and your culture of your team? Right down the drain. Because you're like, well, why do I have to work hard then? So, I think it's always important as an owner, as a upper management, as a leader, that you are enforcing all of those things. You want to make sure that you're building your team really well. Does that mean more people? Not really. Because you could have 10 people doing a mediocre at best job, or you can have 3 people who are just rocking it. You want to have the right people. You want to have the right people with the right attitude, right? Because even if they're talented, and I think someone talked about this yesterday, you could have someone with the skill set that you need. They're super awesome at the job that you are hiring for, but terrible attitude. They don't want to do it. They're late. They have all of these other things that don't work. You want the right people with the right attitude. You want the right people in the right seats, right? So if you picture a bus, like a big bus, and you have your whole team on there, like, who is the driver of the bus? Is he sitting in the right seat, or is he like lazy and it's going to take you in the wrong direction, right? You want the guy who is the driving force in the driver's seat. And hopefully that's you, right? When you give those people on your team, you have the right people with the right attitude in the right seats, and you give them clarity of exactly what you want as the owner, as the leader, your manager, whoever, coach, those people are confident in your expectations. They are going to do the job. That's important. That's important to grow your business. So, these are just kind of some of my things about success. What do you guys just shout it out? What do you define success as? Money? Happiness? So my thought on this is this will change as you get older, because success as you're young, it looks like money, right? It looks like all the things, all the material things. Me now, how old will I be? I'll be 47 next month. Happiness is a big part of it. Time to be able to come and do things like this. A strong team back home that's able to run operations while I'm gone. Success is being able to go to my son's baseball games. Like, that's a big one for me. Because when I did teach, I stopped teaching about 6 years ago in the classroom every night. Those early years as an owner, I spent from 4 o'clock until 9:30 at the studio every night. So when my son was little, my mom watched him, and I missed all of those evening things with my son. So success now to me is being able to do those things with him and being able to spend that time. I had a parent one time who, my son was sick, he was little, and I had someone sub my dance class. And I had a mom at 11 o'clock at night call my phone. This is how crazy some dance parents are. Cheer parents, pretty crazy too. I got lots of stories about that. But I had a mom call my phone and say, "You weren't in class tonight. Where were you? My daughter needs you." And I thought, the audacity. My son needs me. I am not here to raise your daughter. I am here to raise my son. That is the kind of things that you will hear as a business owner. Everyone else's needs before your needs and your family's needs. You have to make that decision where you draw that line. Okay, going on. So, some of the hardest things that I have done or dealt with while I was still running the businesses, growing the businesses, all of those things, started about 6 years ago. And I didn't put the first one up there, but it seemed like it was the trigger of a chain of events of unfortunate things in my life. On January 13th of 2020, my grandmother passed away. Devastated. On February 13th of 2020, my mother, my best friend, was diagnosed with ALS. March 13th, I shut down all the locations because of COVID, and we went to we did 135 classes via Zoom with my full staff. It was a nightmare. We tried to keep as many kids engaged without losing that enrollment. A week in all of the buildings. I made sure the staff, they were still getting paid, and doing that all remotely. Well, soon after that, time passes. I was my mother's caregiver with my father and my brother. She passed in May of 2021. Devastated, obviously. 5 months later, almost to the day, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm like, God, come on, man. Like, give me a break here. So that journey began. I was pretty young, no history in my family. My mom was the oldest of 8, 7 girls and 1 boy. Not one of my aunts had any kind of anything breast cancer related. Like, how? I'm healthy. I work out. I eat right. I do all I've done what I was supposed to do. But it is non-discriminatory. It does not care who you are. At the time, we were recovering from our COVID enrollment losses, and you have no options. I was doing it myself. I had a great team. They helped me through the surgeries and the treatments and all of the things. I worked remotely. I recovered. I'm standing here today in front of you, cancer-free, and so happy about that. Then comes along another speed bump. Thank you. Thank you. Another speed bump comes along. That's what I like to call these men. The speed bumps of my life. My son's father and I split up, and we moved separate places. We moved apart. Business still running, right? You still have to go to work every day. You still have to do all the things. Life does not wait. Work does not wait either. When you are an entrepreneur and you have put your heart and soul into it, you have to push past. Then enter the employee issues, right? We now have about 35 employees between all 4 buildings. And my biggest regret, I think, in that is putting full trust in people that should have been doing the right thing, and they weren't. So we're currently dealing with those. And for those of you, was anybody in some of the classes in October that I spoke in Beverly's class? Yes, okay. We talked about some legal issues, some breach of contract things. Have contracts with your employees. It will serve you well. And legally, I can't talk about anything else. Right, Gina? So all of these things are hard, right? They have been hard for me. They have been hard for my family. They have been hard on the business, but they have to run simultaneously. They are parallel. The business grows, your life changes. The business grows, your life changes. You have these speed bumps. You have these things happen to you. And when it all comes down to it, everybody has stuff happening, right? Everybody has these things. Everybody has breakups. Everybody has this. Everybody has that. And it's important that you keep a clear head about it and keep moving forward. So, my advice to you as an employer who is hiring people in your generation, that I think this will be your most beneficial and helpful slide. Be disciplined with yourself, with your work, with your family. Be disciplined with all of those things. Be consistent. If you say you're going to do it, do it. If you tell your employees you're going to do it, do it. They will trust you. Trust yourself to make those decisions. This is a big one for me, and this is generational. Don't be soft. Be tough. Because at the end of the day, and this may sound a little harsh, nobody cares. They want you to come to work. They want you to do your job. And I'll just give you a small example of a young lady that I let go of a couple weeks ago. She sent me a text, said, I broke up with my boyfriend. This is a full-time employee, by the way. I broke up with my boyfriend. I'm deeply grieving. Okay? I'm going to need to take a few days so I can grieve. Okay? Now, I appreciate the relationship and what you've had or what. I still have things for you to do at work. Work still goes on. You don't have time to take off. You have already taken all of your days off because 2 weeks ago you said your back hurt and you couldn't come in. My back hurts every day. Right? Your employers want you to be tough. They want you to show up. They want you to do the work that you applied to do. You applied for this job. You knew what was necessary and what was expected of you. Hold up your end of the bargain. The other big one for me is just keep in mind, nobody owes you anything. You have to make your own way. If you want to be successful, it is on you. You can't look to your parents and say, what do I do? Or can you bail me out of this? You will feel much better about it if you do it on your own. If you do your work, your boss owes you a paycheck. If you don't do your work, you probably don't work there much longer. Choose your people wisely, not just your team. If you're the boss and you're hiring, choose your friends wisely. If you hang out with losers, chances are you're going to be a loser. If you marry someone who's not supportive, chances are you're going to get divorced, especially if you marry me. Always be learning and growing. I think that all of the speakers today have shown you, today and yesterday, have shown you what continuing education looks like and growing their businesses and learning new things. 25 years ago, like, we weren't talking about AI, right? I mean, that's true. And be ready to move fast. Be ready to pivot. Be ready to change. Be ready to support yourself. Times get tough. Stuff happens. And you have to be ready to move fast, to pivot. You have to be ready to make those changes in your life, in your business, especially if you are the business owner and people are relying on you to support them, support their families, to make an impact on your community. You have to be ready to move fast. I think that's it. Does anyone have any questions? Get the microphone.
All right, we'll get a microphone. I think Bev has a question over here first.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the end of the story with your employee?
Oh,
Is she still working there?
she is, she said don't tell her. She is not. She is no longer employed with me.
And the other question is, are you trying to build something with you think your son or other people in the family? With business decisions, you build things for yourself. You say financial once you've gotten that settled. And the third one is, did you ever want to quit?
Every day. No. This last year has been very challenging. Just a lot of change, a lot of repositioning people on the bus, so to speak. And so, yes, there have been days where I'm like, is this really even worth it anymore? But one thing that I always remember is, and I think about, are my students and where they are at. And I think anyone that's a teacher or a coach or like, I think about those kids. I think about where they're going, what they're doing. I have one that's a senior with me now, who she's going to Boston Conservatory. She just got into that dance program. I have a former student who is also going there. I have a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader currently who is a former student. I think about those kids. I think about like the impact that we've had and what we've built. And dance and cheer, teach a lot of, really any competitive sport teaches a lot of discipline. And that, even if you don't go and do dance, or you don't go professionally cheer or baseball or whatever it is, the skills that you learn in those sports and doing those activities, they carry throughout. So I think about that. Your question to like what's next, or am I building for my son? It's funny because we were on our way home from a baseball game a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Mom, do you think that like I could just take the studio over, or would I have to buy it from you?" And I was like, "Well, buddy, that's a pretty good question." And I thought about it for a little bit, and honest, 100%, I don't know that I want to put him through the things that I've gone through with the business. And I wholeheartedly don't know if I would do it all over again. Some days, other days, yes. But in the current state, in the current situation, I don't know that I would put myself through it. It has been a lot of heartbreak, a lot of lost friendships. It has been very stressful. But there's also the good things, the silver lining things. End game kind of goal is hopefully when he graduates from high school, I'll be at a position to sell to private equity. And they're really pushing youth sports right now, and any kind of youth activities, buying up a lot of dance studios, cheer facilities, swim schools, all of that. So my goal is to get the value as high as I can to sell to private equity eventually. And then I'm going to move somewhere south. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and wait for the mic to come up so we can.
What is your advice to incoming, like the freshmen and then graduating seniors? What was the number one takeaway thing that you would give as an entrepreneur?
Great question. So as an incoming freshman, the advice that someone gave me is get your GPA up as high as you can that freshman year. And then if something happens a little later, then it's not as devastating. But honestly, I would set yourself up with the discipline of having a routine and doing all of the things to prepare you for whatever it is you're going into to major. And then as a graduating senior, I would say, don't stop learning. Keep pushing whatever it is that you want to do, whatever field you want to go in. Find out as much as you can. If you're already preparing for internships and interviews, find out as much as you can about those companies. I can't even count the number of times when I'm interviewing someone and I say, "Have you taken a look at our website?" Like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah, this is over." Like, you can't even take 5 minutes to peruse the website. Like, you're not for me.
No.
So that would be my advice.
I have a question back there.
So I kind of have a two-parter.
Sure.
So you started with the one dance studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've grown to, I think it was like 6 businesses you have currently. Did you ever, when you were starting that first one, did you ever see yourself multiplying to this many businesses? And then the second part is, when did you know, or how did you know that you were ready to expand out more and grow?
So when I started, no, I did not know, didn't think. I mean, honestly, when I first started, I was like, I'm just going to work full time. Like, I have insurance with Anheuser-Busch. Like, this is a good gig. Get 2 cases of beer every paycheck. Like, I'm having a good time. I'll just teach some dance, you know, whatever. And then I was like, okay, like, I can make a living off of this. Okay, like, I'm expanding. I kind of like this. But it wasn't until 2017. So I started in 2006. 2017 is when I opened the second location, and it was kind of again, like a right place at the right time. A studio was closing. 2 sisters got in a fight that had been running it, and they didn't want to work with each other. They didn't want to be family anymore. They wanted to close the studio, and I knew one of them. She asked me, she's like, hey, do you want to buy this? So that was kind of right place at the right time, like knowing people, having those connections. But the other part of that was I thought that I would be able to copy and paste everything that we were doing at the main location to that location. And the communities are only 20 minutes apart, but it was day and night. Like, everything that I was doing over here didn't work here. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? So right place at the right time, kind of looking for it, kind of not looking for it. When we expanded the cheer facility, or to a different building for the cheer facility, like, we had outgrown our space. So, like, I knew I'm gonna stifle the program, like, if I don't do something different, because I just can't take on any more people. So, and what was that? Did that answer both questions? Okay.
I have another question.
Sure.
So, what did you did in order to come back stronger from your health issue that you have? And what advice would you give to someone that is having a health issue that they can control?
Yeah, so once I was kind of like through everything, and since it happened so close after my mom had passed away, I was emotionally and mentally feeling like when's the next bad thing gonna happen? So that really took a toll on me, and it took me a little while to get through that. You know, when I had my surgeries, it was pretty devastating, like really about 9 months of not working out, not doing any of the things that I used to do. So when I was cleared to do that, I started working out again and kind of really found myself again, rebuilt my health, got strong again. I mean, I couldn't lift over 2 pounds for like 8 weeks. I couldn't raise my hands above my shoulders. Like, I couldn't do any of those things. So that was rough, because I'm independent and just get stuff done. So how I figured it out was refocusing on my own health and rebuilding from there, working out, lifting weights, doing all of those things that I used to do. And it kind of brought me out of that time.
All right, how about one final question for Darci? Anybody have a final question? Right there.
Hi, I wanted to ask, like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Like you mentioned, you also have a makeup line, and you wanted to get the value for the business higher so you can sell it to private equity. But what's next for you? Do you want to continue maybe something else, or do you want to spend your time with your son, or how are you going to balance your,
Sure.
you know?
So what I tell my son is, wherever you're going to college, that's the town I'm moving to. He's like, absolutely not. But I will eventually sell the business. I'm not really sure exactly what I want to do. I would like to get into I'm already doing it a little bit, but consulting for dance studios that are, don't have that business knowledge or business acumen, and like really help them understand that this isn't just creative, that you have to have those systems and a structure. You have to have all of those things, because it's not a hobby. This is like, it's a business, and you deserve to make money for all of the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into your business. I'm currently writing a book, so that's kind of on the back, on a shelf, kind of taking it off here and there. I spend time with my son, yes, of course, but he's almost to that age where he doesn't think I'm cool anymore, so that's a bummer. But yeah, not really sure what my next chapter is.
All right, well, thank you, Darci, and she will be available at lunch for the networking session as well. Thank you. So let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll have Phil come up. So you have about 5 minutes. Again, fill out the survey, because after Phil's done with his presentation, we'll announce the winners. Give you 5 minutes.